Hey everyone, hopefully you're having a good day. My name's Andy. My channel's Finding Value. Today we're going to do our uranium daily technical analysis update. If you've noticed, the 10-year yield was higher. And a lot of these companies were higher today. I mean, Sprott uranium was down a little bit. It's gravitating like a magnet to this line that we've got. And we'll go over that. But the 10-year yield was up higher today. Again, I'll just jump right into it, guys. Again, this is just my financial opinion. 10-year yield was up 2.33%. We are going into an area that is above this long-term downtrend line. What that means is that the derivatives market thinks that higher rates of inflation are coming. They know it. They have insider information. They are the banks. The banks are the people that make the decisions. So what they're thinking is they're positioning and selling bonds and positioning into other things, probably copious amounts of energy, uranium included. So that's the 10-year yield there. Now looking at Sprott, downtrend line, we're breaking this thing. We're skirting all over the place. We had a small down day today in charts here, down 0.89%. The projected move, but keep in mind, guys, when we break these downtrends and we stay above it like this, more than likely we're going to break to the upside. So that's good. And I think we're ready for a big move higher soon. Doesn't mean yet, but very soon. I would be positioning. I've already positioned a lot of money. Thank God it stayed down in 2022 because I positioned a good amount in URNM in an ETF in my 401k. And thanks, guys, for selling it off this morning. I did got in at 77 cents, and then I got in here at like 75 cents. I kind of cost average in these 2 days. I put a good amount in there. So sorry for driving it up. So that was North Shore that I went into, URNM. This thing's looking fantastic. It's right at support zone. Doesn't mean that this can't go down and bounce around a little bit longer, but I wanted to get my shares in there. This thing's looking fantastic for a potential move on the weekly candlesticks. I mean, it's probably going to be a little bit more volatile down here, but hopefully we can turn around here. I do see a little bit of selling pressure down here. We got this big down day here, but hopefully we can reverse and move on up and negate that. So I think we're going to do a little bit more bouncing around down here. Bannerman's looking good, up 3.6%. I've got this, hold on, looks like that. I've got this line down here that I've drawn in, and that's where we're at right now. And I've seen this pattern before. It happens over and over and over, where you get this, and this pattern here is the same pattern as this pattern is here. I think we're getting very close to a move, about to move to the upside. It's getting there, and sometimes they put a little downward motion on it before heading up, like this one did right here. But this pattern is the same as this pattern here. This one's just scrunched up a hair more. So Goviak's coming up a little bit today, 1.5%. We're in this pattern. And you know what? I like Goviak's a lot. This is probably one of my favorite picks for risk reward and for where it's at. I like this one a lot. This is the one that I would be buying myself and have been buying myself. Global Atomic, this guy's been firming up. We were down a little bit today, a little bit of resistance up here, but I mean, this thing has been on a tear. I don't know if I'd buy it all the way up here, but again, it's doing well. We break this little pattern, this resistance area up here. I think we're going to see a big move higher if it can break through it and get its legs underneath it, get some momentum. Forces, another one of my favorite companies. It's just bouncing around in here. We might have one last kind of loop here before bopping out of here and hitting the jets to move on up. But it's doing okay. Pure Point Uranium, again, it's holding on, 4.24% up. The support line's holding. Everything looks good. Deep Yellow, I would have been a buyer down here, right by this area if I had money. But I do have a overweight stake in deep yellow. I think it's still good right where it's at to be an accumulator. This thing's going to continue higher, I think. Paladin Energy up 3.82% today. And what is this? We're peeking out the top here. We're peeking out of this massive, massive pattern here. So once we get and close above, I would say $1 or so. Hold on, let me zoom in here. It's less than $1. Well, where did this thing go? 81 cents. We close above 81 cents. I think we're out of here. I think we're going to see a big move. This is going to be a price adjustment phase out of this area here. Sky Harbor doing very strong, just like I thought it would. We're right at that resistance line. So, you know, this looks fantastic, guys. A lot of these companies look really good. I think they're ready to move on up here. Sky Harbor looks absolutely fantastic for a large move to the upside. Next Gen Energy, I know that was kind of bouncing off its support area with the big bullish engulfing on a weekly candlestick basis. Looking at the dailies, it's looking good. It's looking solid. So that one looks good. Yeah, it may bounce around as it migrates a little bit higher. Canalaska, good 10% up day. This guy's looking all right. We're right at the support line. We'll see if this thing can hold. I don't see why it wouldn't. Base load, again, if we want to look at this from a little bit different perspective, what you do is you just draw this thing up. Draw it like somewhere, if I can grab it, there we go. I'd put it somewhere like in here. And what I'm looking at on this big kind of pattern here, and I think what's happening is you get this lead in, you get a cup and then a handle pattern, and then it's going to break and move on up. And the projected move of this guy is from the top here to the bottom, and then you kind of drag this thing up. It's going to log adjust it. Good old log adjust. $1.87, $1.90, something like that. So maybe $1.90 is what the projected move is from 70 cents on this pattern. It doesn't mean it'll stop there, guys. So that's what I've got there. Fission 3.0 up 6%. Looks like it's playing with some resistance on this upper trend that I just drew in there. You could, I mean, this thing, you could draw it down like this. It could be almost a breakout. Really depends on how you look at this. You could also draw it across here. And we're trying to break through this little sticky area in here, guys. So we're trying to break up, and we just got some sellers. We're getting a little bit of sellers up there, which is okay. We'll get through it eventually. Whoa, Fission, 9.42%. Way to go, Fission. Breaking out here. You guys, I mean, we could see a good move here to the upside and go to the upper end of this channel up here. More towards $1.09 and see what happens when we get up there. CCJ, Camco, doing all right. 4.1% up, and we're just stair-stepping higher there. Kazatomprom, no doubt. It was a nice little launch today, 10.5%. Looking quite strong for Kazatomprom. Low risk buying area down here. Peninsula Energy, still in its pattern here. Nice good rebound off of the lows of 0.12 up to 0.1597. Looking at Boss Energy, putting in a Boss pattern. Bullish engulfing pattern here on the right side there. So that looks really good. And there's a lot of support down at $1.40. A lot of support. If it were to get back down there, I would be a buyer. Lotus Resources looking good, breaking out of its pattern here. So everything looks really good for Lotus, up 3.37%. Now, we've got UROY. I would do more of a buy ROY here. So the buy ROY at this support area is what I would be doing. So I don't know if I'd do a UROY, but I would do a buy ROY. And then we've got Encore Energy. Encore Energy, nice solid day today, 6.9%. Looks like we've got really good support underneath this right where I drew this line. Good support. If you're anywhere near it and you guys want to own a piece of Encore Energy, that's where I would be a buyer. Is right in here. And I don't know if it's coming back. This whole sector is looking really good, and so does oil. The whole energy sector looks really good at the moment. It doesn't mean it can't get back there, but we might be in takeoff mode, guys. We might be in takeoff mode. Energy fuels, again, big buying pressure, smaller selling pressure, and I like how this thing looks in here. We're in this channel that's just walking higher, so that looks good. URG was flat today in this megaphone type pattern. I don't know if I do any buying or anything. I just hold on. UEC it's basically playing the game of just the tip. We've got a massive support line coming up. We've got resistance line, and what's happening is, we broke out and we had the moronic variant scare come back in. Here's your chance to buy shares cheaper than 560. You're at 381. We're still in this pattern. It's about to break. I don't see why it wouldn't break very soon. So, I mean, it's up to you what you want to do. I can't give advice or anything like that, but if it were me, I would be cost averaging in before the break. Energy is looking awfully strong. LEU's been just chopping sideways. It may try to find a base support here and try moving on up, and may not come back down. Looking at the long-term perspective, if you were to look at this, we've got this nice support line that it likes to touch. It touched it there. That would have been a nice buy there, as it rocketed all the way up to like $90-something. And we've come on back. And we might come and eventually meet this thing moving sideways a little bit. So what this is, it's just a stair-step pattern. You got the step there, it goes up, steps across, goes up, steps across, goes up, steps across, and so forth. LTPR, light bridge. I like it down here in this little corner. The reason I like it from a charting perspective, it broke the downtrend line. It broke it with a good, nice buying pressure. It came back to do the retest move over here, and that's where I buy. I just buy this retest move over here, and add in some shares and just hold on. It's a low risk, high reward entry point. Looking at ISO energy, this thing's been moving on up. It's right kind of where the support is. So let me see if I can get a little bit more. Yeah, there it is. It's getting real close. So, I mean, it's up to you what you guys want to do. But, I mean, I would probably be a buyer in here if you like ISO energy right at this trend line. Appy Energy going down a little bit today on the return move. Again, I don't mind it where it's at. I would be a buyer. If you guys want some rare earth exposure, Denison Mines, it's just chopping back and forth in this channel going on up. After a huge break of this big pattern, so it's at the bottom of the channel. Probably not a bad spot to be looking at accumulating in. Blue Sky Uranium, we're at the bottom portion of its channel. Up to you on what you want to do. I don't know which way this thing's going to break, but it's probably not a bad spot to be buying at support. Now, Forum Energy Metals looks really good down here. It's found that support. It's right at the support line that we had from the big long-term perspective. Support all through here. So maybe we can get our footing and move on up. And again, it doesn't mean that we just go straight higher. This thing could bounce, contract up, and then come back down. I don't know the future, but wherever you do buy, it's lower risk to be buying at these support lines. Anfield has my attention. It definitely has my attention. It's coming on up. I did sprinkle some in here, guys. I did. I am a sprinkler. What I think we saw here was a break here, and then the moronic virus came out, brought this thing back down, gave you another opportunity to steal some shares in Anfield. That's what I did at 8.5 cents, 9 cents. Maybe it was 9 cents. I probably bought it at 9 cents or so. And if this thing breaks, it's a big old pattern that we haven't broken yet. And if it breaks, I think we might see a big move. So I sprinkle some in before the break. We kind of already broke it and it came back. So it's almost like we know what it's going to do before it's going to do it. So that might be one to look at. Anfield. Laramide coming on up. Everything's holding together. Support held, and we're moving back on up. So that looks good. Western uranium and vanadium looks like it wants to get back inside the pattern, like this was almost a false little breakdown move. That could be the case. Might be good to, if you guys like this, and I don't have, I'm indifferent, guys, but I would be buying shares down here. If this thing were to go back up, it would look good. And UEXCF looks good here too, to maybe do some sprinkling if you guys like it. We're right at this long-term support going across, and that's where you want to buy it. It breaks out. It does a retest move. It did another second retest move to give everyone the chance to buy it. So it's up to you on what you want to do. I own it. I'm holding on. So what do I think of the entire market here? I think it looks really good. I think it looks good. It looks strong. It looks like we're getting some buying pressure coming in. Rates are going up on the 10-year yield, which means that I think people are figuring that we're going to have an inflationary environment. People are buying into it. That is one of our signals. There's a lot of manipulation on yields right now. So it's very difficult. I mean, that's kind of what I use as a measurement and a gauge of how the market's doing and what the market thinks. But if there's all this manipulation around it, sometimes it gets a little bit foggy. But I'm a big bull in this stuff. The valuations are incredibly cheap, incredibly cheap. So if uranium were to skyrocket higher, I don't see how these things don't go a lot higher with that uranium price spike. And Sprott Uranium Trust is above its downtrend line. It's sitting there. So that is a positive. That's something that I would be looking for, is to be sitting above that resistance line. And now it's just a matter of time before that thing rips. So we're just waiting for money flows to basically flow around into this sector. And they're coming. They're coming. My money flows came into it yesterday and today. I bought URNM because that's what they allowed me to do in my 401k. So I put some juice on this squeeze, baby, if you know what I mean. I put some money in there. I bought a lot of XOP as well. So I really beefed up the energy sector, and those were the two that I really liked, XOP and URNM. So I'm in it. I'm ready for this bull market to start now. I'm fully locked and loaded. And hopefully it works out in our way. I mean, everything looks really good for a potential move higher. Will we bounce a little bit longer? Maybe. Remember, I'm not saying that we're just going to rocket higher. We're not going to go straight up. But the possibility is there where this thing rockets higher. So I'm in it. The ones that I'm looking at in the very short term for my own, if I were a buyer right here, I would look at Forum Energy Metals, Goviax. I would look at Anfield, because some of these are really low. Deep Yellow's looking really good if you guys like Deep Yellow. Uroy looks good because it's right there at that bottom. Those are the ones that I'm kind of looking at. Lightbridge, LEU. Lightbridge would be the one I would be looking at. UEC, if you guys like UEC, that would be one that's coming up to the tip there. Whenever you come onto these tips, that's when they move. They squeeze up into it, and it's like, boom, a big move happens. So I can't tell you the exact timing of it, but I buy before the squeeze. When it's squeezing up, I buy it during that squeeze phase, and then I just am patient and wait. If you guys like the analysis, give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and thank you for listening. This is Finding Value.